so nostalgic. I was telling your producer here, it's like super nostalgic coming back here.
Yeah, no, definitely. Austin's changed a lot.
Yeah, I think that's what Bitcoiners are doing. Like, since I went through all that, there was a big music art scene at that time here on this side of town.
Yeah.
And I feel like Bitcoiners are coming into this side of town, and they're starting to like rebuild that culture, that vibe that we used to have.
So that's exactly what I'm saying. And I think that Austin is growing way too fast. And the way Austin's growing is pushing regular people out of the city.
Right.
And there's nothing that you can do to stop places from growing. You know, there's nothing you could do. Like, I ran a campaign for mayor in 2018 about building a dome around Austin to kick out Californians, like, you know, trolling.
Right.
But, you know, jokes aside, the only way that you can stop a city from growing is by ruining the city.
Well, I think. Yeah.
So, but what I'm saying though is that with that being said, we're gonna grow. There's nothing you can do about it. So if we're gonna grow, we gotta grow in a way that everyday people benefit from the growth. And the best and only logical way to do this is to turn Austin into a Bitcoin to turn Austin into a Bitcoin mega city, because Bitcoin literally helps everybody else keep up with the growth of the city.
And that's what me and Kyle did, is like we literally started Austin Bitcoin Club with the whole goal of like getting Bitcoin to the hands of the rest of our community. And when we had that first meetup last year, it was literally like people from all sorts, like here San Marcos, any town in like Central Texas area coming over to learn about Bitcoin. But over time, we realized that the best way to do it is through something like an app like Oshi or Ibex, or just any one of those kind of things. Is like literally onboarding businesses like yourself and like teaching them how to use Bitcoin, teaching them how to like store Bitcoin and all that stuff.
Yeah. So like, I have an edge. Well, I have a Coinbase. I have Cash App. Like anytime somebody Cash Apps me, I put it into Bitcoin. Right. I have an Edge wallet where I like accept Bitcoin payments on the Pedicab and whatnot. So, and I have a person who rides for me, and I give him discounts if he pays in Bitcoin.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like I try to do all that stuff. I think that's super important. I started like actually buying Bitcoin pretty consistently during COVID, and it changed my life. Like I went from being broke to being a lot less broke.
Yeah.
You know, and I have and granted, I probably have about half the amount of money that I had in November, but it's also one of those things where you're learning, like just by owning Bitcoin and being involved in something like this, you learn so much about our economy. You learn so much about the financial system. You learn so much about why things are happening the way in which they're happening. And I think that like dollar cost averaging into Bitcoin is really the smartest and most disciplined way to invest your money.
Yeah, I think ultimately, I think it's just like the greatest savings vehicle, just for like, you know, when I try to like, I guess people ask me, I don't try to shill them Bitcoin or anything, but they ask me like, what are you doing? I literally say like, I just use it as a savings vehicle. Yeah. I think if you no longer look at fiat like it's going to store your wealth, because it's not, but if you look at Bitcoin as like your savings account, I think that's the best way to do it. Like, yeah. Honestly.
And I think also there's so many bad faith actors in the crypto community.
Absolutely. And
you got to call that out, because the bad faith actors create skepticism in places like Austin that make it harder for us to adopt this new technology. And, you know, for a city that's as tech savvy as it is, people are extremely ignorant on Bitcoin and what it does and how it can help people.
And that's okay. I think it's going to take people time to learn these things, but there's a group of us Bitcoiners that like I told you before we started rolling, like I used to hang out here with you guys like in 2010, 2011, 2012, when you guys would throw these little parties after like White Horse would let out, you know, and it was kind of cool because you guys were super inviting, and like you would have Lone Stars there and we'd all chill and hang out. But like, I think Bitcoiners that are like doing this kind of grassroots movement are the same way. Like a lot of us use our own money to fund these meetups. A lot of us, you know, use our own money to like build out these like, I don't know, just to help other people like get onboarded into Bitcoin. Because at the end of the day, like if we don't onboard the rest of the community in Austin, like it's gonna hurt really bad. Because right now we're in a recession. Like they're not talking about it on the news or the local news because they want to freak people out, but it's just the truth.
Well, I think everybody on Twitter, if you're on social media, everyone knows we're in a recession. But why are we in a recession? Because the Federal Reserve is going to try to tighten its monetary policy. Do you think they're going to succeed?
I don't. That's not really my expertise, to be honest with you. I just know that some of the smarter people in the space are are saying these things, and I'm just listening. I'm learning too as well.
Right.
Like,
but monetary tightening and monetary policy does play a role in terms of how the Bitcoin price moves.
absolutely. And I think that's why it's important to onboard as many small, medium-sized businesses.
And it's also important to understand that because, when a skeptic says, oh, Bitcoin lost over half of its value in 4 months, why should we invest in that? I'm like, okay, that's because Bitcoin is directly correlated right now with the stock market. People see it as a risk-on asset. And a lot of people that are buying Bitcoin are not buying Bitcoin for what it's intended for. They're buying it as a way to make money, whereas the purpose of something like Bitcoin is to have spending power, purchasing power, and autonomy away from the traditional financial system.
Right.
Most people who are buying Bitcoin and buying crypto are buying it because they want to make money and they want to make money quickly. That's not what this is for. It's about having a low time preference and being able to hold on to something that you believe in for a long period of time because you know that this thing is going to be worth a lot going forward in the future.
Yeah, you sound pretty based, Alex.
Yeah.
Well, you're from Austin, right? So, like, that makes sense.
I grew up in New York, but I've been here for like 9 years, right? I think a lot of people, they don't understand that, right? And right now, Bitcoin, it's moving with the stock market. It's moving according to like the fear of Fed tightening and whatnot, right? But what happens when the stock market starts to rebound? Like Bitcoin's going to go, like every tech asset and risk-on asset's going to go up. And you know it's going to go up even more because it went down more when that happened? It's going to be Bitcoin. And I don't think that our Federal Reserve has the ability to actually bring inflation down through monetary tightening when we were $30 trillion in debt. So what I think is going to happen is they're going to doctor the inflation numbers, right? They're going to change the metric for how they report it. They're going to say, oh, look, now inflation's at 6% instead of 8%. We're only going to do a 25 basis point hike. Oh, we're not going to hike this cycle. Yeah, what do you think people are going to do when they hear one slight hint of good news?
Yeah, I know it's a lot to take in. I think for anybody that first hears this stuff, they think we're crazy or something. But I don't know. For me, I just keep it really simple. I have this kind of thing. It's like keep it simple, stupid. At least that's how I live, and I just try to like be of service to Bitcoiners, be of service to my community, and then pray for the best. And like I think that's all you can do as an individual. I don't think it takes more than that. If there's just more of us doing that, I think we'd be much better off. But
hey, let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
What do you think about, we were talking about this before we started filming, what do you think about Mackenzie Kelly's Bitcoin resolution to get the city to start studying crypto? What do you think it's going to do, and what do you think they could have done to improve upon how they did that?
Yeah, I feel like I can talk about this subject just because I run Thriller Bitcoin. It's a media company here in Austin. It's like a local Pleb newspaper, and one of our writers, Remy, did a piece back in, I want to say March, when all this came to head. So there was 2 resolutions. There was one that was backed by a handful of fiat companies that were trying to push this kind of Stacks token, and then there was another resolution that was backed by Bitcoiners, from what I can tell. The one that the mayor actually put his name on was the Stacks token.
That's not good.
Well, I pray that he makes the right decision, but at the end of the day, everybody in the Bitcoin space knows Stacks is a scam, and knows.
Can you explain why it's a scam?
Personally, they try to bribe us, right? So I don't know of people bribing you. It just looks wrong, and it is wrong, and so.
Well, Miami Coin lost like 90+% of its value.
Yeah, that's another thing. We saw what happened in Miami, so the fact that they want to bring it here in Austin it's just gross.
I mean, they're trying to use it as a lotto system, basically, where it's like, oh, you give X amount of dollars into this, and then they'll give you this city coin.
And it's a centralized token, right? Like it's basically a security, and it's not even under what should be under the SEC's purview, but. I mean, you can't control what you can't control, so that's why I don't really focus on those things. I just literally focus on what I can do here in my local community, and that's just like onboard more people like you, onboard more people like your producer, onboard more businesses, and that's what we're doing at the Austin Bitcoin Club.
We are always accepting advertisements on these pedicabs, so more people can really get on board.
That's good.
We're just letting you know.
Yeah.
Man,
just shoot me the business name and stuff, and I'll let the rest of the Bitcoiners know that we need to start helping out these pedicabbers. Because personally, I don't like using those stupid scooters.
Fuck this. Yeah, there you go.
I actually like using pedicabs.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, the more Austin becomes a Bitcoin hub and a Bitcoin megacity, the more people like you are going to be moving into Austin, and Bitcoiners take pedicabs, whereas these wokesters that work at Microsoft and Apple take scooters. So You know, I want the city to grow in a way that I benefit from it.
We have to support our local communities, and I just don't see a way we can build what all the Bitcoiners say we can build in the future unless we're out there physically talking to everybody. Yeah, you know.
You know, Car, I think that Bitcoin has a potential to really also solve our affordability concerns.
In what way?
Well, I think that if I were the mayor, if I were Steve Adler, right, or if I were a city council member, I'd be proposing resolutions to start accepting property tax payment and all city payments in Bitcoin. And I would incentivize people to give me their Bitcoin by offering a 25% discount on whatever service you're paying for, so that we can start having Bitcoin on our balance sheet.
Yeah, I think there's people like, you know, Parker Lewis and Christopher Callicott that are trying to make something like that happen, and I pray that they are able to make something like that happen. I just hope that we get the right information to the mayor and that he's able to make the right decision. You know, I'm one of those people that really believes that if you give people all the information that they need to make the right decision, they're going to do it. But that's just kind of what I believe.
Do you have any communication with Pomp or Francis Suarez?
I have communication with Pomp's producers because I also produce for Marty Bent. He runs a media company here in Austin called TFTC. It's the best podcast I think in Bitcoin. But it's funny that you mentioned that. Like all the producers talk in the Bitcoin space. So I talk to like Pomp's producers, Peter McCormick's, and those.
Dude, I listen to Pomp like all the time.
Oh, okay.
I listen to especially when he has like Will Clemente and like Dylan LeClaire on, like I'll always listen to like the segment on them, because those guys, when they talk about Bitcoin, they'll talk in good faith. You know, they'll speak based on numbers and only numbers.
Yeah, I haven't gone around to listen to Pomp in a while. I mainly just listen to a lot of the stuff that Marty does because I produce it every day.
Okay.
I really like Stefan Livera too as well. He's another podcaster I really like a lot. I like Talking in Bits. One of my friends does that podcast. Yeah, there's just a lot of great podcasts. I just don't have time to listen to like every single one.
Well, it takes a lot of time. It's a lot.
Yeah, it takes a lot of time.
But, you know, the more that you get involved in something like this, the more you start like understanding data and what's going on. And I think that when that happens, you know, it also helps you manage your emotions, because, you know, the first time like you lose 50% of your net worth, you freak out, right? But then afterwards, you start understanding why this happens, and you become a lot, you know, calmer about like stress and chaos. And I think that is good for you psychologically.
I think like I got into Bitcoin in 2015. That's when I bought my first Bitcoin.
Ooh, all right.
So like back then it was like $250. But I had to learn the hard way, like through the crash of 2017 and like buying into all these altcoins and not knowing anything. And
I have a bunch of altcoins too that I'm waiting on.
But like it's like you have to learn that stuff on your own, because no one's going to teach you like not to touch the stove if it's hot until you actually touch the stove a few times and you're like, oh, got burned. And I think eventually people will find their way back to Bitcoin. You just kind of have to show them grace. You know, I think
I think that there's still a lot of money to be made in altcoins. They're just not long-term things. There is. I just don't know how like long-term. Like I don't know if they're gonna have the lasting value that Well, they won't have the lasting value most likely as Bitcoin would. But B, I think what happened with Tether, with USDT and Luna, is actually going to be a really good way to get more people back into Bitcoin from the alts because of what happened with Luna.
I mean, I really try not to focus on those things, like the external things. I just focus on my city. And I know people are like, man, this guy's just so one-sided. But I just don't see anything more important than onboarding my local community into Bitcoin. I think that's the highest priority that I have. And as long as I keep doing that and keep sending out that signal, I think everything will be okay. But I just keep it simple.
Okay, no, I love it. I respect that. And I think that Bitcoin, it's like I said, it's the safest asset to invest in. And with the price that Bitcoin is right now, I think stacking Bitcoin and stacking sats it's the smartest thing to do right now.
I think getting paid in Bitcoin too, like you mentioned, I think that would be really cool. Like if we can get like a bunch of these pedicabs, like with like a Bitcoin orange painted, and then like just straight up Bitcoin pedicabs.
I would love that. Yeah, no. Listen, you don't have to tell me twice. I would. That'd be like a dream come true.
Yeah. I'll link you with like Michael from Oshi. I think he's probably somebody that could get that done, and then definitely me and Kyle could help out. I mean, we've always been willing to help out everybody as we can.
My boss is literally right there, who owns all the pedicabs. So you go talk to him for a little bit afterwards.
100%. Yeah,
because I think that would be really good. I mean, I think pedicabbing is Bitcoin. Like,
I think
there's
so,
no
yeah.
better way to represent the ethos.
It's proof of work.
Yeah, it is proof of work. Uber is proof of stake.
Exactly. Uber is proof of stake. That's like the best line ever. Oh man, that's so good. Wow. Yeah, I mean, you even look at those Teslas too, man. Like, they just feel like just very like video gamey. They don't even feel real, man. Like this, like feels real. Like there's like heart and soul building.
And
you know?
you're getting an experience. Like, this job is freedom. Like, I have the freedom to wake up. I don't have to set an alarm clock. I can come into work whenever I want.
Doesn't that feel good?
It feels great. My biggest responsibility at this point is making sure I showed up to meet you at 11 o'clock. And I was still 5 minutes late.
But you know what? You know what's cool about that is like Bitcoin, when you hold Bitcoin, when you save with Bitcoin, it gives you that freedom. It gives you that sovereignty that not too many people know what that feels like. But when you have Bitcoin stored up and you see it rising, you see it fall, but at the end of the day, it's still stacking. You have that freedom that you didn't possess before, and to me, that unlocks everything in your life.
Well, it unlocks a lot, and it also gives you the freedom to be able to, like, just with this job,
to say no.
And also to say whatever I want and communicate with people how I want. I don't have a rating system. I could play whatever music I want. I could
Boss. Yeah.
I could post whatever I want on social media without any consequences. That's freedom. And you know, both pedicabbing and Bitcoin, like, they really are almost synonymous with one another.
Yeah, I think you hit it right on the nail. Like, it's pretty interesting how seeing this community go from like this music art scene, like in the 2010s, 2011s, 2012s, and then that kind of dying off, and then now you're seeing this like Bitcoiner revolution happening inside of the community, and like everybody is waking up to it, and that just shows like as long as we keep sending out the signal through these dark clouds that we're in right now in society, I think we're gonna be all right. We're gonna break through it.
I think we're gonna be all right too. I got like doomer optimism.
Me too.
Yeah, there you go. So like I feel, and that was like, I got that from Tucker Max. Like, I think that like the world is going to shit, and I think a lot of people are completely unprepared for what's happening, and I need to work on my preparedness. But I think that a lot of people are either A, unprepared, and B, are not preparing themselves in any capacity for what could happen, and a lot of people are going to get really hurt in the next decade by everything that goes on. But, you know, I think that there are going to be a select group of people who, if you prepare for this, and if you like, if you nurture positive relationships, if you spend your money intelligently, if you put your money into hard, sound assets, if you have a low time preference for certain things, you might wind up, this might be your opportunity to really like
make it on the other side.
Thrive in a way that you never could have before. And I try to like look at it from that perspective.
Yeah, those are wise words, Alex. Yeah,
and I think that owning something like Bitcoin, and even having some cryptos just stored on the sideline, even if it is a shit coin, the fact that it could moon and go up because of the irrational behavior of humans, and because of the greed that people still possess, and because of the fact that people are still not fully aware of what Bitcoin and what it does, and they probably won't be for the next 10 years. There still is an opportunity, like, even when you have a few shit coins, anything can happen, and you got to be optimistic about that happening.
Like,
you don't believe that, but it's okay.
No, it's just that, you know, but it's okay. It's going to take you time to learn, and then you'll become a Bitcoiner, and then you'll be like, oh, this is why.
I'm not a maxi yet, but I'm like...
Yeah, I don't even think maxi is a term. I just think you just become a Bitcoiner, and then you realize, like, okay, there's people that are actually trying to do good in society, and then there's people that are trying to scam society.
Oh, I
agree.
Once
you pick the good versus evil aspect, everything else unlocks, and you start seeing more fruits of your labor in that process that just kind of happens.
No,
it's very beautiful. Yeah.
You don't think like other tokens or other protocols could wind up being like a good thing to invest in? Well, right now, considering the society.
I'll kind of say it like this: like I think protocols work. Like right, we have HTTP and HTTPS. I think that works. Right now, we're building out the Lightning protocol here at Pleb Lab, and I think for the most part, it doesn't need a token attached to it, and that's where I think a lot of new entrants into the space don't realize is like you don't need a token attached to a protocol. Like there already is one. There's Bitcoin.
Yeah.
If you make a token on top of a protocol, you're literally just trying to like, you know, just scam people. So it's just that simple.
Do you think like what about the privacy coins like Zcash or Dash or something like that?
I don't pay attention to that stuff.
Yeah. Okay.
No, we have some of the smartest people in the world working on Bitcoin. I mean, these are people that turn down like, you know, $500,000 jobs from Google and like Apple to do open source Bitcoin.
Okay.
That says a lot about like if all the smart people are working on Bitcoin, then there's probably something there you should pay attention to. And if all the scammers are working on like all these other tokens that are securities, then like it just I don't know how else to say, but like follow the smart people. Like the smartest people brought you the internet. The smartest people brought you these amazing things that we love and use today, right? But like I think you might want to just hold all Bitcoin. That's just my opinion.
Okay, that's fine. I mean,
also you were talking about Tucker Max. We actually had Tucker Max on TFTC, I want to say like 2 months ago. It was one of the best episodes we ever shot.
I want to watch it.
You should watch it.
Okay.
Go to tftc.io and then you'll see the Tucker Max Marty talk. That thing like changed my life because he had me think about a lot of different things for the rest of the week. And even to this day, I still use some of those little tidbits that he talks about. Tucker Max is really based, dude.
He is, and it's kind of funny because people only remember him from writing those books.
Yeah, he talks about that too.
Yeah, but he's been writing about like positive relationships and eating healthy and doing all this like really good constructive stuff for like almost a decade. Nobody even acknowledges
He's hilarious too, man. Like you meet him in person, he's one of the most like warming, really nice guys. But on top of that, he's just so like he just can so make a joke, and then you're just like, wait a second, and then you start laughing. The guy is amazing. I love Tucker
And he's like
Max.
a brown belt in jiu-jitsu too. Like,
oh, is he really? Oh, I didn't know that. Wow.
Like,
yeah, he's totally a boss, dude.
Yeah.
He's a Bitcoiner too, yeah.
Good. I mean, it's smart. Like I said, Bitcoin changed my life in a big way. Like I started buying it during COVID.
Nice. Yeah, that was
like
the best time.
8 to 10,000.
That's amazing. Congratulations.
Yeah, dude. My first college roommate was telling me to do it, and he works for Goldman Sachs, and I'm just like, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Let's do it. I'll do it.
He probably knows some alpha that he was probably leaking out maybe at that time. Kind of cool.
A whole bunch of my friends were telling me to do that, and I was just like, damn, I'm really lucky that I made the right friends while I was here.
Yeah.
Because imagine if I had like friends that all they wanted to do was like drink and do drugs all day. Nobody would be telling me to buy Bitcoin or invest in stuff.
Yeah, and I've kind of noticed that too. Like, you know, hanging out with Bitcoiners, you're just gonna level up as far as like their intelligence. You just kind of fall into that thing. And I know at Pleb Lab, like I'm hanging out with some of the smartest people like Super Testnet or like Keon who's doing Snacker News, and these guys just look at the world's problems in a different way. I'm not saying they're correct about everything, but some of the smartest people are working in the space, and it's pretty fascinating to hang out with them. They challenge your ideas and the things that you think are right. They challenge them, and they make you look at it from a different perspective.
I think sound money right now is the safest and smartest thing that you can do. Like right now, we're in a position where a monkey can be able to like can actually build a strong portfolio if they just follow really simple protocols. Like if you just calmly like stack some sats right now and put most of it into a hard wallet. I know they say don't leave any of your Bitcoin on exchanges, but I think it's okay to have some on exchanges to use, or if you like need to buy something or make a purchase and you can sell to make a purchase if it's there. I think that's okay. But generally speaking, like if your money is in cold storage, you're safe from disaster.
100%. Yeah, and you get yourself like a cold card wallet or something. You're gonna be pretty safe.
From a lot.
Yeah.
You're safe. And people say, well, what if the internet goes down, or what if XYZ happens? I'm like, okay, well, what's gonna happen to your bank?
We have a bigger problem than just that.
Right. Fair. Okay, what's gonna happen to your banking info if that happens? What's gonna happen to your stocks? Like, what do you think is gonna be safer? Something that's stored in a centralized database, or something that's stored on a hard wallet that only you have access to.
Yeah, and that you can memorize those 12 words or 21 words, and then you can take anywhere with the world with you. Like, that's the most powerful thing is, like, you can literally store your wealth in your brain, right?
Yeah, I mean, don't you still have to bring the wallet with you, though?
You could go buy one wherever your destination is.
And you can still...
Yeah.
Even if it has the key? I thought that you had to actually have the same physical wallet.
So let's say you have a wallet, right, a hardware wallet, and you tie it to, like, this private key, and the private key is derived from, like, 12 words. You take those 12 words.
24, yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean. You take those 24 words anywhere you go in the world, and you get another Bitcoin wallet. You input them in there. You're golden.
Okay, well, that's cool. That's good to know in case something happens to that physical wallet.
It's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Powerful.
That's good to know. Because I was always scared. What if something happens in a fire? What if something happens in a flood? This and that.
Also, too, if you're more freaked out about that stuff, like there's a great company here in town called Unchained Capital. They allow you to like do like multi-sig, so it takes like 3 different, I guess you would say, keys in order to access your Bitcoin or withdraw or even do stuff like that. So even something like that, if you're not entirely comfortable, holding those words, holding that hardware, that hardware wallet, you could go to like Unchained Capital or like these other services that are out there, and they'll hold your Bitcoin. You pay a small nominal fee.
Yeah, but then you're trusting some other party to
Well,
hold
you're trusting with one key, right? One of 3. So you would hold one. There would be another one here, and then Unchained would hold one. So, yeah.
I mean, I guess that's a safe thing, right? What if something happens to that? What if something happens to Unchained?
I think it's a lot safer than somebody knocking on your door with a wrench and saying, "Give me your Bitcoin." Just an idea, but I'll let you think more into that.
That is something to think. Yeah, I guess there's a lot to think about. And
yeah,
it's good
so
to be around people
this is where a lot of people are like, "Well, tell them about this. Tell them about this. Tell them about." I'm like, sometimes you can tell them too much.
And it overwhelms them.
And it overwhelms people. So that's why we start off with just get some
really
Bitcoin,
basics.
learn it, and then eventually you'll fall down that rabbit hole and you'll learn all these things.
And it's got to be your choice.
And it has to be your choice. And eventually everybody learns that way. But right now, the easiest thing you can do is just start stacking Bitcoin any way you can. And then slowly you'll start learning how to do it on your own. And that's how I did it. That's how everybody did it.
But generally speaking, I don't think that somebody's going to – like the idea of somebody going to my house saying, give me your key is kind of like –
I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I hope not.
Like, I don't have it.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. It's weird. It's weird to think about. I don't like thinking about stuff like that.
Well, I'm also buying a security system either way. So, I'm trying to keep myself. I think, generally speaking,
I didn't
you
mean to scare you, Alex.
No, I don't care. Listen, I don't. Fuck, dude.
This is where, like, for us in Austin Bitcoin Club, we're trying to move away from this, like, doom and gloom kind of like, oh, you got to watch out for this. I mean, yes, you do.
Well,
but
I
at the
think
same
it's good to
time,
prepare for the worst.
But it's like also good to you do your own research in that field. Sure, we can give you the tools to go learn about it, but like at the end of the day, it's going to be up to you to take on that self-sovereignty. It's not for me to tell you what I think is right. It's for me to give you the tools and then you go and figure it out on your own. But I think the most important thing we can do for our community is like literally get some Bitcoin any way you can before the crash happens.
So I mean, yeah. Well, the crash is already kind of happening right now.
Yeah. I think we had somebody on this week. He was talking about how, like, in Ecuador, they had the same kind of thing happen, money printing and all that stuff. And then at a certain point, it was literally like this gradually thing was taking place. Everybody saw it. And then suddenly somebody came out, made a statement, and then everybody just moved over, like, to the USD. And, like, you see that happen in Ecuador. And it was just kind of – he was talking about it. It was fascinating. It was like he said it – everybody saw this go like this, and then finally it just went, poof, and everything. The scale tipped over, and that's just how like inflation happens overnight.
Well, look at what happened in Russia with the ruble before it got back to normal.
How did that work? I don't know about that.
Well, with the sanctions in Ukraine, when Russia first invaded Ukraine, the ruble fucking plummeted.
Oh wow!
And so like Bitcoin in rubles went like sky high.
Wow.
And Bitcoin was like hitting all-time highs in Turkish liras because their currency got completely devalued, and it made me think like one day the U.S. dollar is not gonna be the global reserve currency considering all the circumstances that we're dealing with. It may not happen now, but it could happen, and we don't have a dollar that's backed by anything. So what do you think is gonna happen to Bitcoin in U.S. dollar terms when that winds up happening?
Yeah, I go back to like keep it simple. Like I don't think that far ahead, and maybe that makes me a bad Bitcoiner, but it's just the truth.
I think it's
like,
good to think far ahead, though. I think that's why you buy this. Is think far ahead.
I think for certain people it probably is, but for me, in order to accomplish things I need to accomplish on a daily basis, I can't think like that. I have to think it like one day at a time because I don't know what's going to happen. I just know that I can do something about it today, and I can't keep my head going up to see what's going on.
Hey, Carr, have you heard about the potential cyber attack that could happen?
See, there you go. It's like all these things that are constantly trying to like take space in your brain, and I just can't think. I got to think about the good and the community, and I have to think about stuff like that. Like there has to be somebody thinking about stuff like that and let other people think about the longer term vision for it. There's this thing right now in the Bitcoin space. There's a lot of new people like myself and Kyle and a group of others that have come into the Bitcoin space in 2020. And we have these like older Bitcoiners from like the 2014 version or 2016 or 2012 version. And a lot of them I feel like are like the generals. They're the ones that are showing us like what to look out for, but we're kind of like the front line because we just came in 2020.
Yeah.
So we're trying to recruit as many Bitcoiners as we can, and that's just kind of how I feel. I let the generals kind of show us the way of where this vision is supposed to go, and then we just kind of just go with it together. And it's not even a thing we discuss. It's just like how I see it, and everybody just kind of falls in line, at least from what I can tell.
I like that. I think it's good. I think it's good to have a trusted community.
I think so. And like in Bitcoin, when you work in the Bitcoin space, it literally is just about reputation and proof of work.
And you exactly proof of work, literal. And with something like Bitcoin that could revolutionize the financial system, you cannot. Bad faith actors in this space do not last.
They don't.
They do not last. Like, okay, maybe you could be a crypto YouTuber who like makes astronomical predictions during a bull market, and people will go to your channel and you'll get some money in the short term. But like, you ever follow Plan B?
Yeah, a long time ago. Yeah, whatever happened to him?
Oh, he was predicting a $500,000 Bitcoin because of
I'm
a
not
super
sure
cycle.
if I'm still following him now. Whatever happened to him, though?
I don't know, he's an on-chain guy who does a stock-to-flow model, and he predicted a $500,000 Bitcoin. And Pomp was having him on the show, giving him a platform. And like even in the bull market, like in the bull market during the fall, he's like, "Hey, Bitcoin's going to 100K, this and that, right?" And I'm just like, I don't know, man. I don't know. But the and Pomp actually does things in good faith. But like there are certain people like Plan B that are saying that we're going to get $500,000 Bitcoin, and then because you make astronomical predictions like that, it's like, oh, yeah, your reputation's shot. And nobody wants to listen to you anymore.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like I think for me, I think everybody has to kind of find their own path, and I literally see it like this these days where like I'm a Christian, right? So like I literally just show people grace, man. I give them time to figure things out on their own. I try not to judge because I think that's just too easy. I try to listen, try to learn, and then just like try to understand like where they're coming from. And if they ask for advice or they ask for any kind of like, you know, next steps or something, I try to give it. But like I definitely don't judge anymore because I think that's kind of ruining our world right now is just the judgment and stuff like that. But I can only speak for myself. Like,
no, I
that's just kind of how I go with it these days.
I think that it's like a community is really important with this space because of the volatile price swings, and it's like you got to keep people emotionally in check.
And I think there's people out there that are calling people out, and I think they're entitled to their opinion. But at the end of the day, like I got to focus on, you know, saving my community, like helping Austin, and like making sure that everybody gets Bitcoin, and that's literally the mission.
Well, exactly, and that adds to the point of the fact that like the Bitcoin community has no choice because of all the circumstances surrounding us and surrounding the world. We have to operate in good faith for this thing to even make it. So right. I would trust a Bitcoiner, like a real Bitcoiner that's been in the space for a long time, over any financialist on CNBC.
I think
you know what I mean? Like, yeah. I think that a lot of people they need to come around to that, and they should come around to that in their own terms.
I think also too, like what you guys are doing here, like you guys literally built this community from a long time ago, and it's still standing, right? And like those are things that when you have a low time preference like that, those are the things that last because you start recognizing the real ones from the fakes, right? And like I can already tell, like I absolutely want to help you with what you're doing here, like 100%. And that's where like once you start talking, you have that conversation with somebody, then you can really see like, okay, like we can both benefit from each other in the long term. And even at the end of the day we don't benefit from each other, we can at least like maybe spark something that creates an idea in your head that you can go off and do. I think there's not too many. We need more builders building here in Austin, and it needs to come from this like grassroots movement. It can't come from like top down. It has to come from bottom up. I
agree, and I think that's why we got to be a Bitcoin hub.
That's why I like what you guys are doing, man. Like I said, it's so nostalgic being here because like I remember being a young guy, and like these older guys were like, yeah man, this is the way, like we just drinking beer having fun, and like it was cool, like you know, like it was just genuinely good vibes.
You get to be a free spirit, man. I'm 35 years old. I feel like I'm in my 20s.
Yeah, and it was just
good. Yeah,
it's just like
I for the most part
that's what's
like,
kind
love
of cool.
My life, you know.
That's what's kind of cool about what we're doing is like it can be a beautiful thing. You just have to go out there and like really make it come to life. It really is that simple. It just takes one person to go out and just say they can do something, and then before you know it, other people jump behind you and start dancing too, you know?
I agree.
Yeah.
All right, hey Car, I know you're on a time crunch.
Oh yeah.
So how do we get a hold of you? Tell us a little bit about who you are, because we kind of just had a free flowing discussion. We didn't really do a proper introduction.
So my name's Car. We do Austin Bitcoin Club here first week of the month on Thursday at the Bitcoin Commons. I also do co-founded Pleb Lab, which is a local Austin kind of like accelerator for Bitcoin developers. And then I also do Thriller Bitcoin, thrillerbitcoin.com. It's a little pleb newspaper that we're trying to do because we're trying to get the signal out there about all the stuff that's happening in Bitcoin in Austin. So check out thrillerbitcoin.com. And then I also produce for Marty Bent, who I think is like next level when it comes to understanding Bitcoin. And you can catch him at tftc.io.
All right, cool. Hey, thank you so much. You got an Instagram? And what's your Instagram and your Twitter and all that, all your social media? How do we get in touch with you?
Yeah, I think I have a Twitter. Yeah, I have a Twitter and Instagram. So it's just ThrillerX_.
Okay. On both?
On both, yeah.
All right, thank you so much for coming on, man. We
Yeah,
got
thanks, dude.
Car, dude, ladies and gentlemen. We're fucking revolutionizing everything. Let's go.